So how do you benchmark your privacy compliance? If you're covered by GDPR, even if you're not in the UK, there's a good chance you're thinking of the UK ICO's popular gold standard benchmark, the Accountability Framework. We'll break down exactly what the Accountability Framework is and call out 5 pros and 5 cons. And do stick with us, it's not the only benchmark the ICO publish. We'll look at one the ICO itself says is probably a better starting point for smaller entities. Hi, I'm Robert Bohr, the founder and CEO of Keepabl, the award-winning privacy management software, saving you time, money and stress and giving you a great answer for the board and customers. Do check us out at keepabl.com. And due to customer and consultant demand, we've spoken with the ICO and we've now built the ICO's accountability framework into Keepabl's SaaS solution. So you get all the benefits of using an official popular ICO framework, now with all the benefits of having it embedded in a SaaS solution with uploads, online tasks with alerts, the ICO's dashboard reporting plus Keepabl's own scoring, all shareable, downloadable, least privilege access, the works. And we'll update it as the ICO updates their framework. This video is part of Privacy Kitchen, free video help with GDPR and all things privacy. If you're new here, please do click subscribe and notify to hear about our awesome new Privacy Kitchen videos. As always, notes are in the links below, and again, we'll just say GDPR in this video because as at September 22, the UK and EU GDPRs are the same for now. Right, grab a cup of coffee, and let's kick off by looking at what accountability is all about. So what is accountability? Well, GDPR is built on 7 principles, and the 7th is the accountability principle. The controller is responsible for and able to demonstrate compliance with GDPR's other 6 principles. We've got a great video on those. So accountability has 2 parts. First, being responsible for compliance with GDPR's principles, and secondly, being able to demonstrate your compliance. Now, a benchmark is a great way to drive, measure, and demonstrate all areas of your compliance for accountability. A benchmark isn't everything by any means, but it gives your governance, purpose and demonstrability. The Information Commissioner's Office, or the ICO, is the UK's data protection authority. They have a strong international reputation for publishing very practical and professional guidance, so there's clearly a lot of benefit in using their popular accountability framework, and given it's based on GDPR and there aren't many others published by DPAs around Europe, we understand it's also well used outside the UK. Let's look at how it's structured. There's effectively 3 ways to use the framework. Extensive guidance on the ICO's website, very helpful. An online self-assessment outputting a Word document, not quite so helpful. And a downloadable Excel called the Accountability Tracker. Now, there's far much more detail in the website guidance and in the Excel than the online self-assessment. We believe it's the Excel version that most consultants and organizations use and mean when they talk about the ICO's accountability framework. Here's how it breaks down. At the top level are 10 major categories, from leadership through policies, procedures, contracts to risks and security. Next, at the second level, within each of those categories are various expectations or actions the ICO expects you to take for compliance with the relevant category. As an example, within the leadership category, one expectation is there is an organizational structure for managing data protection and information governance, which provides strong leadership and oversight, clear reporting lines and responsibilities, and effective information flows. And then at the third level, each expectation itself contains a number of more detailed statements or questions. As the ICO states, these are the most likely ways to meet their expectations, but they're not exhaustive. You may meet the ICO's expectations in slightly different or unique ways. So as an example, within leadership, there's that expectation I just mentioned, and then within that, there's a statement at the third level that the board or the highest senior management level has overall responsibility for data protection and information governance. Now, in the Excel version, there are the 10 categories, 77 expectations, and 338 statements or questions. It's pretty detailed, and as the ICO says itself, if you work for a small organization, you'd most likely benefit in the first instance from other resources on their SME hub, in particular the toolkits the ICO created with small organizations in mind. Now, let's come back to that because we're focused on the accountability framework here, and we'll now race through 5 pros and 5 cons of the accountability framework. So our first major advantage, if you're in IT or security and you're looking after privacy at your organization, or you're a privacy consultant advising your client, the first major benefit is you're recommending your organization uses the gold standard official benchmark from the UK regulator, widely used and respected. That's a safe harbor for you. They can't say that you chose the wrong benchmark. Now, the second major benefit is similar. It's that if you're unlucky enough for the ICO to look at your organization, it can tell the ICO it's using the ICO's own official gold standard benchmark. That's a safe harbor for your organization. The ICO can't complain about your choice. So these are the two major reasons why we hear customers and consultants choose the ICO's accountability framework. Let's look at the other three benefits we identify, which also come with their own disadvantages sometimes. So our third benefit, the third pro and our first con, is that the ICO's accountability framework is super comprehensive, and that's a double-edged sword. In the Excel, we saw there's 338 questions to answer. This isn't a quick task, it's a commitment. But the benefit of that is you're going to get a very full framework to drive your compliance. And as we saw though, the ICO itself suggests one of its other frameworks is likely a better starting point for smaller organizations. Even large entities can find that in practice, the accountability framework is hard to score well on. Now this brings us on to our second con. The ICO's accountability framework is not only very detailed, in places it goes beyond the minimum for GDPR compliance into DPA interpretation, perhaps even wish list territory. This may not be achievable or appropriate for many organizations. So for example, in the leadership category I mentioned, and within that expectation at the third more detailed level, the framework calls for an oversight group that meets regularly and reports into the board, with operational groups reporting into the oversight group on data protection matters. That's three-level structure is fine for a larger organization, but it's likely to be a tough ask for most SMEs. Now, our fourth pro is that the Excel version of the ICO's framework, as we mentioned, has an automatic and really helpful dashboard showing you your overall position and breaking it down into the 10 main categories. It really is very good. And this brings us to our third con. Excel is great. We love Excel, and you can upload and download Excel within Keepabl, but Excel is limited in terms of sharing, duplicate copies, version control, etc. SAS makes all this sort of stuff come alive. So our fifth and final pro is that the Excel version has fields to enter comments and tasks, the ICO calls and actions. Very useful, and again, the online self-assessment version doesn't have this functionality. But this is also our fourth con. You do get tasks in the Excel, but it's in Excel, they're not really personalized for individuals. And this is related to our fifth con. For the Excel and online self-assessment, you don't get the other SAS benefits, such as alerts to users, the ability to upload documents, or for example, give tailored online view or edit access as you can in SAS, and we provide all those benefits in our implementation in Keepabl. So there are our 5 pros and 5 cons, but those 2 major pros really outweigh the rest. You as an individual and your organization have safe harbors. You can't be faulted for choosing the ICO's published gold standard benchmark. It's comprehensive and well respected. And that's why I think it's become so popular in such a short period of time. Hold on, I hear you say, what about Brexit reforms? Well, good question. As we record this video in early September 2022, the UK draft bill, the DPDI, has been paused given the new Prime Minister. But even if it comes back with a vengeance, the UK government's proposals in the consultation still don't reduce the need for privacy governance. You still need leadership, training, policies, good contracts, inventories of personal data, risk assessments and security. Keepabl has a great side-by-side comparison of UK GDPR and UK DPDI with ROPAs, DPOs, DPIAs and DSRs, and the links in the notes below. But whatever happens, it's clear that the framework's going to continue in a similar form to today, probably with some slight changes. But hold on again, there's that other UK ICO published benchmark you should know about. The one that the UK ICO, and I quote, created with small organizations in mind. It's the Data Protection Self-Assessment Toolkit, and the links in the notes below again. I highly recommend you look at this toolkit, made up of 7 separate checklists totaling 119 questions. It's shorter, it's more helpful, it's focused on practical steps, and it's much more achievable while covering all your obligations in GDPR and other UK data protection law. So there you go, you know about GDPR's accountability principle, about the need to have a usable, relatable benchmark, about the very popular UK ICO's accountability framework, and that there's another UK ICO benchmark you should look at as well, their Data Protection Self-Assessment Toolkit. Please do look at our other Privacy Kitchen videos, including the 7 principles of GDPR, and please do use hashtag Privacy Kitchen to tell us the topics and questions you want covered. Do visit us at keepabl.com, get your demo to see how we've sassified the official ICO accountability framework. Stay well in the meantime, and see you soon in Privacy Kitchen.